My goodness. Every time I try to make some type of spiritual related video, there's something that goes on with my phone. So somebody trying to not let me speak my truth. But anywho, this morning, as I continuously tried to tell you that I was making some tea, some ginger lime tea to be specific. Other things in there too, but ginger is has the properties of healing, and lime has the properties of love. Green, heart chakra, love. And I threw some honey in there for sweetness and to make it stick. So I made some for my mother as well, because we sort of had an argument like 2 days ago, and it was a little heated and intense because it had to do with, she just has a lot of things going on in her life, and unfortunately the way that she reacts is outer projected. So she came for me. There was no reason really. Let me tell you what happened. I was just in the bathroom, using the bathroom, and she was upset. I don't know why. But she just started banging on the door like, "You're always in there for long," and she's like, "I need to use the bathroom." Meanwhile, the house has more than one bathroom. And right? Okay. So I come out and I peacefully and calmly, because I had just finished a 7-day emotional release challenge, which left me feeling so high, full of love, just so open. So I go in there and I'm like, I don't know what it is that's going on with you, but that has nothing to do with me. So please. And then she just started, right? And then I was like, okay. And she just started bringing up a whole bunch of things from the past and just basically emotionally dumping on me. So I was like, all right, none of that really has nothing to do with the now. Excuse me. You're just finding things to be angry at. You're just looking to, how do you say, give a reason to why you're doing what you're doing, why you're saying what you're saying. And then out of all of that, from that, it's she started attacking my beliefs. Okay, because she's a very religious person. She's been going to this church for over 20 years probably. And I as well did. And I don't anymore, because I decided to follow my truth, the spirit within me. And I've always been a rebel type person. So it's if you tell me to do something, I'm not going to do it. And sometimes not because you're not right, it's just because you're telling me to do it. And it also depends on the way that you tell me, right? If you're telling me in a loving way, in a compassionate way, where it's I feel you're actually trying to see what it is that's good for me, then I will be open to hearing you. But if you're trying to come and tell me what to do just because you want to impose your authority on me and because I said so type of thing, that just doesn't go with me. And I've come to accept that. And you know what? I love that about myself, because I've come to trust in myself, because I am not going to lead myself astray ever. And even if there are things that perhaps don't go the right way as per what other people would think is correct, it ends up always working out for me in the end. Because even if I don't get what I thought I wanted, I ended up getting something better. something that helps me grow, that helps me understand myself or those around me. So she started attacking my beliefs, and it was like, okay, she's just a bunch, because the religion is LDS, what most people know as Mormon. So for them, it's like the temple and the prophets that they have now and the apostles and all of this like hierarchy, like linear hierarchy, okay? And all the prophets and apostles are men. And the temple, this is one thing that always kind of like perturbed me, because I never understood this. Like I didn't see the how, like what? They say that to be able to connect to God, to spirit, you need to go to the temple, to the innermost part of the temple. That's the holiest place, they say. And this is where you can connect to God. So I always ask myself, why is it only in the temple? Why can't I connect to God out in nature? Why can't I connect to God in my home? Why can't I connect to God wherever I am? So I need to go somewhere else to be able to connect to this higher being that will download me whatever it is that I am needing in the moment. So I need to travel elsewhere to get this peace of mind that I'm looking for. So that always bothered me. I never understood that. But then as I started to read more other than the books that they gave me, because they would always be adamant about reading these books, because you will understand, like your spirit will know that this is the right path, right? Okay. So I'm not going to lie, when I did read the books, I did feel like my spirit is trying to tell me something, right? But it's like everything that I would feel inside of me it's not what they were telling me. And it's like when I would ask questions, they would shut me down and be like, no, just read. Or just read and pray. Like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. And it's contradicting what you're saying. So, but it was like, I was always looked at like the one that contradicted, like the rebel, right? Which I am. I'm fine with that. But it's just something that I've ended up, and in one of the, it's crazy because it's not crazy. In one of the scriptures that they ask you to read, the Doctrine and Covenants, one of them, I don't recall what number it is. I'm not good with the numbers. I just know like what it would say would stay with me when my spirit is like, listen to this, I remember. So the part that always stayed with me was read other books of wisdom, as many as you can find. And so me being the person that likes to know, like I'm somebody that likes to know things. Like I need to know. Like, don't come and surprise me. I got to know what's going on. Which has been a big test of faith in my life. But, oh, these birds are over. Oh my God. Yo, 3 birds almost flew into the window. Okay, I hear you. All right, there goes. But so that's my thing, right? Like I need to know. So here I am reading these other books that are calling to me, that my spirit is like, yes, please read it. You will understand more when you read this. So okay, here I am, I'm reading. And when I read these other books, it's like it does correlate with what it says, but in a completely different way than how they explain it. Okay, so I'm going to use the temple, the example of the temple, for example. And it's like they say that the innermost part of the temple is where you will connect with God, is where you will receive your peace of mind, is where you will receive your downloads, okay? That's the holiest part of the temple, the center. keep that in mind while I explain this. Now, it also says in one of the scriptures somewhere, I can't remember what book, but that our body is our temple, and our body is what needs to be taken care of, right? It's our vehicle for this journey that we call life. Because it also says that we are spiritual beings just living a temporary human experience. Okay? So if we are spiritual beings living a temporary human experience, then our temple is, of course, our bodies. Now, what is the innermost part of our bodies? This part right here is our temples, right? When people have a headache, they say rub your temples and it'll soothe it. Your temples right here. What is the innermost part of your temple? The pineal gland. The pineal gland, or your third eye, is how you receive, how you connect to your spirit, to God, to Goddess. Okay? By meditating. And when people that meditate, they say they receive these downloads, this enlightenment, this information that just comes out of nowhere, things that they know that they don't even know that they know. Like, what? Like, how do I know this? Yeah. It's because they have connected to their third eye, to the innermost part of their temple. That is where they're getting their inspiration, their enlightenment, their wisdom. Okay? So that was one that when I read that, I was like, okay, they got this all wrong. And like it was a lot of things. Like, for example, prayer. They would say like the way to pray would be to ask. Always ask while you're praying, right? I ask that you do this. I ask that you do that. And yes, it is important to ask. Ask and you shall receive. However, it is a way to ask, right? Because we are God, Goddess, in a different expression, in a human expression, because there are different forms of expression of this divine light, of this divine source being. A tree is an expression. The grass is an expression. An animal is an expression. The human is an expression. Okay? Now, we are still source in this human expression. Now, you asking is the way in saying, I want to have this. This is a form of asking, right? I would like to have this. But when you are saying that, when you are expressing yourself in that way, you are consciously or subconsciously saying, I don't have it. And therefore, you will receive what you have asked for. So you're asking by saying, I don't have this, I want it. So God says, okay, I will give you what you are asking for. And you are asking for the feeling of wanting what it is that you want, right? So you're going to continue being in that want space. Now, if you ask in the form of gratitude, because you know, all right, because you know you are spirit, you know who you are going to ask in a way by saying, thank you. Thank you so much for giving me a home that I can be free in, a space that I can express myself freely in any form that I desire. And so perhaps in the moment you may not have this space, but you are giving gratitude for something that you probably may not have at the moment. But because you are saying, I want this, but you're saying it in a way of, thank you for already giving it to me, because you know that you are the one that is actually doing the giving and the receiving, it happens because you have this belief, right, that anything that you desire will come to you. Perhaps not right away at the snap of your fingers, because we are living a human experience. Therefore, we need to also enjoy this human experience. And in this human experience, there are steps that you need to take. We are not in our spiritual forms where, like in our dreams, in our lucid dreams, where something that you think of right away pops up in your mind, right? That's how it happens in the spiritual realm. But here in the physical realm, there are certain steps that you need to take. However, you know it's going to happen. So with confidence, you take those steps that you need to do to be able to get to that. But even if there are certain blockages, sometimes that stop you, because there will be tests, because there's still that programming of the ego of, hold on, you can't believe it's just going to come out of nowhere. What do you think? You right now don't have everything you say that you were grateful for. What? All these beliefs, all these programmings, it's of the ego trying to keep you safe. The ego is something that is important because it tries to keep you safe. However, safety in the known, okay? While spirit delights itself in the unknown by experiencing brand new things. That's the whole purpose of us being here, is to experience life, this temporary human life, to experience as many things as we so desire. Anything that pops up in your imagination is a possibility. That's your spirit saying, you can do this, we can do this, let's go do this, okay? But unfortunately, the human mind, the programmings of what they have led us to believe, that we are just human, that after this, after we die, is just no. So it's a lot that I'm probably coming out with, but I kind of went on a whole different tangent here because I was speaking about, but yeah, these are my beliefs. And it's something that the way that I've been expressing myself, I guess, in my authenticity, because I'm no longer afraid. I would always go and go and go to this church to really please her, because it was just not only it wasn't even the teachings, because the people really, they didn't understand it enough to be able to explain it the way I believe that it should be explained. Not that it should be explained, but the way that it's been revealed to me. So it was also like the people, because you would think, I mean, I know it's not, we all go to a hospital because we need healing, not because we're already healed, right? So I know that people are going to church to find themselves, to, I guess, find something bigger than themselves. But the thing is, it's themselves, right? So, but like, it was just the judgment, like the criticism, like I was done with that too. So I was like, you know what? I will find my own path on my own. And this is why I left. But the whole attacking was to this, because I left. So because of the things that I believe, like, for example, I believe energy, I believe spirit is in all living things and beings, like energy. Spirit is energy. So, and I believe crystals contain energy, because, well, they come from the earth, and the earth is also spirit. It's a different manifestation. It's spirit holding us, right? In its own form, holding us in a way. So I believe that these have certain energies. So I was attacked because of this, because I believe that this has certain energies, because of the different books that I read, even because of the way that I dress. I was attacked. So, and this is like another thing with that church. It's the way you dress. Like, it's a certain way you need to dress to be able to be holy. And for me, my temple, I believe I'm allowed to express myself in any way I please, or form, or just any way I please. Okay. And there's just so many things that it's just like, for example, the baptisms of the dead. So they believe that you need to baptize to bring the people that had died into what they call the celestial kingdom. So they believe in celestial, terrestrial, and celestial kingdom, or terrestrial to whatever order it is. Star, moon, and sun. Okay. And that's another thing that I've never like really understood. But now that I'm again reading other books, like trying to find knowledge in other things that I'm putting together, that my spirit is leading me to fully understand what it was, that everything that they tried to, I guess, indoctrinate me with, if that's the word. But it's not the way that they say. See, now that I'm doing this inner spiritual healing, like I've come into healing my inner child, into healing generational trauma, generational curses, okay? And I feel this is what they are trying to portray in this, trying to baptize those of the dead. And it's not really trying to baptize them, it's really yourself, because it is really the self in the multiple expressions, right? But it's these generational traumas, these generational curses. Like they want you to do your family ancestry, which I absolutely love, but it's because you need to know where you came from, like the habits, the patterns of your ancestors, of what they were believing, of what they were doing. So, and see how that affects you in your personal life, because those habits, those patterns are ingrained into your DNA. Because when we are children, we don't do what we are told. We do what we see, right? That's what's imprinted into our minds. When we are between birth and I think 7 years old, it's like our brain is in I think it's theta state, where all it's doing is absorbing everything. It's a sponge, absorbing the words, absorbing the actions, the behaviors, the attitudes of our parents. And then we become that, okay? So that's what I believe this whole ancestral family tree baptizing for the dead really means. Ba? But for me, it's that the generational traumas that we've experienced. Like, for example, one would be lack, right? The belief of lack, of I don't have, or the lack of abundance. The lack of abundance of money, because abundance really means to have more of anything or whatever it is. But the lack of abundance of money, like this is something that I've struggled with personally, that my whole family has struggled with. So this is a generational trauma. This is a generational curse of the belief of not having enough. So knowing that this has come from great to great to grandmother to mother to child, now that's something that that's something you need to work on, because we are not lacking in anything. Excuse me, confirmation. We are abundance in all, abundance in love, in peace, in joy, in light. But unfortunately, we are forced to believe that in order to have this abundance, you need to do certain things to be able to get it, or you need to be a certain way to be able to get it, or born into a certain family to be able to have it. So it keeps you in that I can't pass this line right here because this is all that I'm allowed to go. When in reality, you can surpass anything because you are limitless. Okay, the possibilities are infinite. Although that's a song, but it's my It's not the possibilities. Liam actually started saying that when I said my energy is infinite. He would always say the possibilities are infinite. But yes, the possibilities are infinite in this life. We are allowed to create and do whatever it is that our heart desires. However, this generational curse makes you believe that no, you cannot. Because you come from a line of poverty, you also need to be in poverty. And it's not like that. So breaking a generational curse would be stepping away from that belief of I can't, of I don't have enough, to I can do anything I set my mind to. I can be different. I will be different. Okay. And that's a way of breaking the curse, of doing differently than what your whole generational ancestral line has done before you. And this is what they're asking, right? So to be able to bring your ancestors into the celestial kingdom, which is another thing, like celestial, terrestrial, and celestial, they're all states of consciousness, while they believe it's something that you get to when you die. And yes, it's when you die, but your spirit, your ego death. Because once you leave all of these beliefs behind, all of these programmings from other people, they're not your beliefs. It's what you've come to absorb and take on as your own. But they're not your beliefs. So once you start searching for your own beliefs, and you'll come to realize that those three states is really states of consciousness. So that they say that the first one, it's you're away from source, you're away from Jesus or Christ consciousness is what I believe, and they say it's Jesus the person. But and then the last one is just where you're with just your spirit, right? So you're able to, excuse me, my throat. So what I believe is that those are the different states of consciousness. So when you're in the first one with just your spirit, it's like you're in your ego base. So you have your spirit with you. However, you can or cannot listen to it if you want to. It's really a choice if you attune yourself to it. And then the second phase is Christ consciousness. So you're here in your human form, Christ, but you're connected to Christ consciousness. Okay. So, and then there goes the celestial, and the celestial is the highest, and then in the celestial is what is it? Exaltation. Okay, so celestial is when you come together with you're married. For them, is when you're married, and you're able to enter this part of the world. They believe it's another world, the kingdom, celestial kingdom, excuse me. You need to be married, right? Exaltation, you need to be married. So, but they think it's marriage of two humans, marriage, and they'll go to the celestial kingdom. But what I've come to understand and to believe is, or to know, because believe is something, but anyways, what I've come to understand is it's actually the marriage of your divine feminine and your divine masculine energies within yourself when they marry and come together. Okay. And then the exaltation is when you are your feminine and your masculine inside of you together, married inside of you, and then you're able to attract this other counterpart, which also has married themselves. Their feminine and their masculine have come together, and now both can enjoy these two things together. Okay, now when these two divine counterparts come together, exaltation is when you are able to access this higher level of consciousness to be able to create and manifest at an even quicker rate, because you are in tune not only with just yourself, but also with everything and everyone else around you. So it's like a manipulation of energy, as you can say, because you are that energy within everything else. And you have come to this understanding that it is you. We are one. Therefore, you can do anything and everything that you set your mind to. So, this has been my spiel for today. This was this morning's I feel like it's been already 30 minutes. If you stuck around with me this long, it's because somehow my spirit has awakened your spirit, or our spirits are talking, or whatever it is, but we call each other in. Okay. So maybe I'll do a little more whenever I get other things, But anywho, thanks for listening. And if you are interested in continuing these talks, please leave a comment so that way I know to continue uploading some type of something. And subscribe so that way you know. Okay?